Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm sharing some extreme decluttering and home organization. I will be completely transforming my kids' playroom, removing about 75% of the stuff that is in here, making the space much more manageable, functional, minimal, and less overwhelming. I found that my kids were not having productive play while in this room and something needed to be done. This was a huge project, but it had a great outcome, and I cannot wait for you to see the process and how it turned out. If you need some cleaning, decluttering, and organizing motivation, this is the video for you. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We have a lot to get done, so let's get into this. The first thing I want to do is just show you around so you can see where we are starting. Unfortunately, the shelf in the closet fell. Luckily, nobody was in the room when it happened, so nobody got hurt, but I took it as a sign that it was time to tackle this project. I have been putting it off, and I knew it needed to get done, so this was definitely a push in the right direction. The first thing I'm doing is just picking up. I find that it's more difficult to declutter a space when it's already messy in the first place. So I like to clean up and put things back where they go as much as I can so I can have a clear space to work in. Once I was done picking up the floor, the first thing I did, because I was already at the bookshelf, was clear out my son's school supplies. He was in kindergarten this year and is going into first grade next year. I can't even believe it, but this year is coming to an end, so we're going to get most of his school supplies packed away. I do want to keep some out because we are going to continue to work through the summer, just a little bit to make sure that he's up to date on his math and reading skills, but everything else will be packed away for the summer, and we will take out his first grade curriculum in the fall. Next, we are going to start clearing out this closet. I could not believe how much was packed in here. No wonder the shelf fell. As soon as I got everything cleared out, I realized that it was definitely just a matter of time until it happened. Like I said, I'm just so thankful that nobody was in this room and nobody got hurt. I will say though, something kind of funny. When it happened, of course, we heard the crash and I immediately thought it was my fish tank breaking, and I thought there was going to be water and fish all over the place. So at the same time, I'm thankful that it was just the shelf and not the fish tank, because that would have been a complete disaster. I can't even imagine. I do get a little carried away here just showing you some memories, because this chest fell from the top of the closet and spilled all over the place. There are ultrasounds and paintings and letters and just everything in this chest. Memories for me of when I was pregnant and when my kids were younger, just things that I want to hold on to, and looking at them made me so happy and brought back so many good memories. So I actually had a lot of fun going through all of these things. After I was done putting everything back in the chest, I took all of these little pieces that were on the floor and put them in a pile so I could sort through them and organize them. My goal while decluttering this space was to not keep any trinkety toys. Not only was I completely done cleaning up this room because it was too overwhelming for my kids, the worst part about it was all of the small pieces that I had no idea what to do with. My kids always helped clean up as much as they could, but because of the sheer overwhelming overwhelmingness of this room and how much stuff is already in here, it made it really difficult for them to not only clean up but also play productively. What I found them doing a lot of the time was just dumping toys out one after another and not actually playing with the toys that were available to them. Then we would end up with a massive mess in here. I'm talking toys everywhere, like can hardly see the floor. My kids are 5, 3, and 1, and when a mess gets to that level, I do not expect them to be able to clean that up because that is extremely overwhelming. It's even overwhelming for me, so usually when that would happen, I would take over, which is why I feel like I've gotten to this point where I want to take about 75% of the stuff that is available to them out of this room. That has happened too many times, and I do not want to clean this room in a state of total disaster ever again. My hope is by doing this, it will make the space much more manageable, functional, minimal, and way less overwhelming for the kids not only to play, but to also clean up after themselves. After cleaning out the closet, I wanted to show you where we are at. Oftentimes when I'm decluttering, I have to remind myself that it gets worse before it gets better. Sometimes decluttering can be extremely overwhelming, and not only is it important to remind yourself that it gets worse before it gets better, it's also important to take breaks. In order to keep going and keep working in the right direction, make sure to give yourself some mental breaks and a little breather here and there so you don't get overwhelmed and feel unmotivated or discouraged to keep going. Go outside, get some fresh air, make yourself a cup of coffee, do whatever you need to do. Even if it's for the rest of the day, take the rest of the day to yourself and come back to it the next day. Nothing's going to change. The mess is still going to be there. Everything still needs to be decluttered. Decluttering is a marathon, not a sprint. Take your time and you got this. Now I'm going through all of the kids' costumes. I will be packing all of their costumes away into our storage unit. We did decide to get a storage unit because we are moving very shortly, probably within the next 4 or 5 months. I will have a better idea on timing once I meet with the builder later this week, but right now I'm hoping it's going to be sometime in October. Like I said, I will find out more very soon, and of course I will share that information with you probably over on my Instagram. If you're not following me, my Instagram is at Becky R. Moss. I will put that up on screen here, but in the meantime, we did decide to put some things in a storage unit, which includes some of the kids' toys that we are packing away. I'm not sure if we will end up taking them back out or not in the new house. Some of them are baby toys, as well as other toys for the older kids, but I packed what I thought I should pack away. In the new house, they will have a dedicated schoolroom and a dedicated playroom, so everything won't be shoved into this one space anymore. So we will have a lot more space to work with, and maybe we'll pull them back out and maybe we won't need to. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm just continuing here to sort and organize things into categories to make sure all of this decluttering is worth it, because if it's not in the right category or is not put away properly, then I feel like there is no point to all this. So I'm really trying to take my time and put things where they are supposed to go, even the beads and everything. I'm really taking my time with every single thing in here. That way, hopefully, I don't have to do this again before we move. Since we were just sorting and organizing beads, I decided to move to underneath the easel where there are other art supplies, work my way through those, then we will start going through everything that was in the closet. This larger box, as well as all of these smaller boxes next to it, is a magic box for my son that I swear to you he has used twice. This is definitely one thing that I am packing away, as well as a bunch of other things I am discarding, donating, and packing away. So many things in this video. You will see in just a little while. It's literally a pile of stuff that is leaving this room, and I couldn't be happier about it. You'll see a couple times throughout today's video, I will try to put something in a box or in a storage container or just in an area in general that it doesn't fit or it just doesn't work for some reason. I feel like that's just part of decluttering. You never really know exactly what is going to happen until you're doing it, and you just have to go with the flow and adjust as necessary. Everything always works out, and I do my best to just work with what I have. When I was decluttering the playroom, however, I did need to run up to the store to get 2 large storage containers to store toys in so we could pack them away into our storage unit. I cannot tell you how excited I am to take back out some of the items we have had to store in our storage unit for my kids. For example, I have one of those climbing triangles. I have my nugget couch for my kids that I had to pack away. They have some oversized chairs from Pottery Barn that will go in their bedrooms. I am just unbelievably excited for the space that we are going to have. Everything I'm putting in the upper left corner is going to the storage unit. I'm just going to take a second to clean back up this space so I can have some room to go through all of the papers and coloring books that were in the closet. Hazel decided to go in the closet underneath the shelf that's just hanging there by a thread. I was so scared that it was going to fall on her, but I went in there and grabbed it and everything was fine, but that's just me being a mom and reacting. I was like, oh no, you gotta get out of here. I'm so scared this is gonna fall. But right after this, Rob actually fixed the closet shelf. He put up a closet bar for the next owners of this home. We have lived here for, I want to say, just over 5 years, maybe 6 years, and this closet has never had a closet bar in it, so we've always used the shelf to hang clothes and whatever we needed to use it for. It's obviously weakened over time by doing that, so that's why we added a closet bar. Now I'm going through sorting, organizing, and decluttering all of the coloring books, the papers, the notepads, everything that was on that hanging shelf. I had in the closet, and I will be putting most of this stuff back on it. All of it is heavily used, whether it's to color or for schoolwork. Different crafts that we do, we use all of this stuff very frequently, but it needed to be organized and decluttered. I feel like I'm kind of jumping randomly from one thing to another here. Instead of putting everything back in the hanging shelf in the closet, I decided to go through this storage container which had Lincoln Logs, dominoes, and Jenga in it, and sort those into different bags to make them more organized. Again, trying to find the right container to store these crafts in. This storage container was just a little bit too small, so I set it to the side and decided to put all of our Legos into one of the bags that I used to sort the Lincoln Logs, dominoes, and Jenga in. These bags work great for organizing toys. I love them. We've also used them for games, like board games and card games, and even game pieces. It comes with some smaller bags and lots of larger bags. We've used these for so many different things. I repurposed this storage container from the kids' bedroom. It had blankets in it. I took the blankets out and decided to use it for those crafts that would not fit in the other storage container. This one is perfect to go to the storage unit. I will find something else for the blankets. We probably don't even need as many blankets as we have. That's a whole nother decluttering project that I don't want to get into right now. Let's finish this one first. I'm sure you thought that the toys in this room was all of them, and I'm showing you here that this basket was out in the living room, jam-packed full of toys. We put this basket in the living room because each night they go around and they pick up all their toys and put them in the basket. The original reason I got this basket was so that once a week the kids could take out the toys in the basket and put them away where they go. Otherwise, if they choose not to do that, the toys in the basket will be donated. However, I have not been able to stick to my word up until decluttering this room because honestly, where would they have put them? What were they supposed to do? Go in there and pile these toys on top of their already full toy baskets? I feel like that is not a good way to teach kids how to clean or how to organize anything, and actually teaches them bad habits. So rather than having them do that, I waited until I was done completely decluttering this room and going through all of their toys. Now we do have this system in place and it works great. Here I am again rearranging how I'm choosing to store these crafts and the kids' toys that are packed away in these storage bags. I decided ultimately to store the toys that are organized into these different storage bags in this one storage container all together. That way, if they want anything in it, they can go in this one storage container that's packed nicely away in the closet, take out what they want, then hopefully when they are done playing with it, put it away and get out the next thing that they would like to play with. I found this to be the best option for storing these toys because there are so many different little pieces. Rather than having them just out and available to them all of the time, they have to actually want to play with something specific. This avoids a lot of dumping out of different toys. They have to actually go in there, get the specific thing they want to play with it, then put it away. We have a couple toys out in the living room for my kids. For example, the train tracks that you just saw me try to fit in one of these organizers. I was so sad that it didn't fit because out in the living room it just looks like clutter and it makes it so messy out there. So I really wanted it to fit into this storage container so it could go into the closet in the playroom, but unfortunately it did not fit. But I will be getting something to store this in. They do play with this train track a ton, and I want to keep it available for them because when they do play with it, they play with it for a very long time. I'm talking like hours, and I love the imaginative play they have while they are playing with it. As you just saw, I straightened up the room a little bit because it's time to start going through my kids' toy baskets. They are jam-packed with toys, and this part was a little bit overwhelming to me. I did need to take a break shortly after starting the toy baskets simply because I found myself wanting to keep everything. So I stepped away for a little bit knowing that was not the goal, and then I came back to it and tackled the rest of this project. As you can see, I started in Wyatt's toy basket, my 1-year-old, and as soon as I started this, like I said, I tried to keep everything. I was like, these are good toys. I know he will play with them. After I stepped away and came back, I came back with 2 large storage bins. My goal was to fill these storage bins and pack them away. The other goal I had was to only put 10 to 20 toys in each child's toy basket. That way their toys are very limited and they will appreciate what they have a little bit more. So once I came back to it, I took a good hard look at what was available to them and realized the reality is they don't even play with half of these toys. So I set aside about 10 to 15 toys that I have seen Wyatt play with in the last month or so. I put those toys back in his basket and I packed away or discarded, donated everything else. I did this one basket at a time, starting with Wyatt's as you just saw, then moving to Noah's and finally Hazel's. The big toys are always pretty easy to declutter and organize. It's when they start getting smaller and smaller and smaller. That's when it starts getting very difficult and tedious. I know a lot of people will say at that point you just throw everything else away. However, a lot of the smaller pieces go with different toys that we have, so it was important to me to go through everything and make sure everything was in its proper place. Of course, all of the unnecessary things I did either donate or discard, but I really wanted to take my time organizing and decluttering this room the right way. I'm not sure how my kids ended up with like 7 backpacks, but I found even more toys in almost all of them. I couldn't believe it. I decided to pack away all of the kids' dinosaurs. They do play with them. However, I am trying to make smart decisions and only keep certain things in here that I know they will play with all of the time. Right now, they do occasionally play with them, but they don't miss them right now, and neither do I. I do not miss cleaning up the mess. Every time I go on to the next big task, next will be Hazel's basket, and I know it is piled high full of toys. I always like to clean up the room a little bit because I know it's about to get really messy again, so right now I am again straightening up, moving things to the side, and just giving myself a little bit more room to sort, declutter, and organize. I know it bothers some that I choose to declutter this way, touching things multiple times. Some people think that when you declutter, everything should only be touched once and you make a decision and you move on. However, I just want to say that everybody declutters in their own way. You will find something that works for you. This is the method that works best for me. It's like controlled chaos in here, one thing at a time, cleaning up a little bit, then moving on to the next thing. I have always found that I declutter best this way. I have tried other methods, but this is what works for me. And as you work through your own home, you will find a method that works for you. If you find yourself struggling to get started or get motivated and your house is a disaster and you just don't know where to begin, you can always go check out my website, onepositivemom.com, and we can schedule a 15-minute intro call to see if working one-on-one with me would be a good fit for you to become more positive, productive, mindful, and motivated in your daily life. It's a perfect opportunity to briefly talk about where you currently are and where you want to be, and to see if we would be a good fit, like I said, working one-on-one together. If you want to check that out, I will put the link to my website below in the description. It didn't always happen on camera, but I did pull my kids in here occasionally to talk about what they wanted to keep or what we wanted to donate or get rid of completely, just so they could have a little input as well and know exactly what was going on. We talked about how their toys go to other kids, and they were really happy about that and excited to give their toys to other kids so they had an opportunity to play with them. However, Hazel was extremely unproductive and did not want to give anything away or pack away anything at all. I tried to convince her to donate some of her dolls and some of her baby and doll clothes, only because she has so many mismatched pieces and they don't even fit the dolls that she has. I told her that if we could do that, it would be a good opportunity to get new ones for her birthday. I do think I am still going to make that executive decision because I think ultimately she will be happier being able to play with all of her dolls and all of her doll clothes at the same time. But right now I knew she would be sad if I did that, so we just left everything as is and sorted and organized it. I could have sworn I turned in both of these phones when I got my new phone. This was so weird to me to find these in the playroom. I decided to separate Hazel's baby clothes and toys into one storage bag and then her larger doll clothes and toys into a different storage bag. That way, depending on which one she wants to play with, it's a little bit easier to find and again put away once she's done. I was going to put the doll and baby clothes into her toy basket, but that would make it overflow again, so I simply put them in the closet with the rest of the stuff that is stored away so it does not get dumped out whenever she comes in here. I also decided to pack away in this storage bin the trinkety toys that the kids do play with. That way, if they decide to play with these little trinkets, they all have to come out and then they all have to be put away. I'm taking a second to show you where we are at. Basically everything on this side of the room by the fish tank and then to the left that I will show you in just a second, around the kids' craft table and even some things on top of the craft table, everything in this section of the room will not be in this room. I will put it in one pile in a little while so you can see everything that is leaving this room in one mountain, but I wanted to stop for a second and just show you where we are at because we are making significant progress. The next thing I'm doing is taking a few minutes to organize and declutter and completely clear off this craft table. And finally, here is everything that is leaving this playroom. I could not be happier with the amount of stuff that will no longer be in here. Like I said, whether it's being discarded, donated, or packed away, all that matters is that it will no longer be in this room. I'm also going to show you around the room for a minute so you can see where everything is at before we start removing this stuff from the room. The table is clean. Those tutus will be packed away. I just wanted to keep them safe. The toy baskets, I cannot believe that they are all just half full. They were overflowing when we started with stuff spilling out of them. This is significantly different than it was. I could not be happier with this major transformation, and not to mention the closet. Do you remember where we started with this closet? The shelf had fallen down, everything was on the ground. This looks so good compared to what it was. Now everything is nice and neat and organized. We only have a few things available to the kids, superheroes, those trinkets I mentioned, some animals that my youngest loves to play with, blocks, and then that storage basket full of different storage bags with other toys for the kids to play with that are nicely organized as well, so they know exactly where to put them once they are done playing with them, and their craft supplies. Everything is so neatly organized. I am so happy with how this turned out. Now I'm going to start taking all of the stuff that is leaving this room out by my front door, and then my husband will take it from there. The last thing we're going to do in this room is wipe down all of the surfaces and vacuum. I'm using Scrub Daddy Power Paste on my kids' craft table to clean all of the marks off of it that my cleaner would not get off. As you know, I like to use non-toxic cleaners. My multi-purpose cleaner is just vinegar, water, some essential oils, and a drop of salicylates. And the Power Paste I'm using is comparable to the pink stuff. It's just a less toxic option. I want to thank all of you for being here and watching today's video. I hope it gave you tons of decluttering and organizing motivation, or even just some motivation to get up and get your to-do list done, or maybe you don't have anything on your to-do list and you just want to have a positive and productive day. I hope this video gave you whatever it is you were looking for. If you enjoyed today's video, I hope you give it a thumbs up, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks again so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.